You were not born on accident. Your birth was a divine appointment, not scheduled by a doctor, not timed by chance, but marked by heaven itself. This is not numerology. This is prophecy. Because before your name was spoken by man, your date was written by God. Not just the day, not just the year. Even your month was chosen. As a scroll, as a seal, as a sign. And yet, no one told you. No one explained why you've always felt out of sync, out of place. Why certain seasons seem to unlock something in you. Why some months crush you, while others call you to rise. Could it be that your birth month is not just memory, it's ministry? Could it be that heaven placed you in a specific season because the anointing of that time was the only one that matched your assignment? In Chosen One Sanctuary, we don't believe your life is random. We believe it's encoded. And tonight, we're breaking the seal. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. But what if you were the purpose, and your season was your entrance?" This message isn't a prediction. It's a remembrance of who you are, why you came, and when. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to hear may explain your entire life. The timing, the pressure, the silence. Your month wasn't just the beginning of your story. It was the activation of your scroll. And now, it's time to read what heaven wrote. Heaven's Timecode. Your birth month was a signal. You didn't choose your month. Heaven did. Before your lungs ever filled with air, the atmosphere around your life was chosen with surgical precision. There was a reason you were sent in winter's stillness, or spring's bloom, or summer's fire, or autumn's release. Because time, to God, is not just motion, it is meaning. He did not just form your body, He timed your entrance. And that timing carries revelation. Ecclesiastes says there is a time to be born. But what the verse hides in plain sight is that even when you are born holds divine intelligence. Like the tribes of Israel arranged around the tabernacle in order, like the stars used to guide the Magi to a Messiah, your life arrived within a prophetic window. Every month has a rhythm, an anointing, a testing, and a calling. January was made for initiators, February for intercessors, March for stabilizers, April for the reborn, May for those who battle with faith, June for builders, July for seekers, August for spiritual climbers, September for sacred order, October for transition bearers, November for intuitives, December for the bearers of promise. You were not just born into time, you were born into a divine frequency. Your calendar is not secular, it is sacred. There is a reason why certain seasons make your spirit ache and others make it come alive. It's not seasonal affective disorder, it's spiritual alignment disorder. You don't need another motivational message. You need to realize that your birth was a summoning. The wind didn't just blow, it delivered you. And time has been trying to wake you up ever since. The silent script. What you felt but couldn't name. Some of you were born into noise but raised in silence. Into families that noticed your needs but never understood your depth. Into cultures that measured dates but never decoded destinies. The month you were born into is a whisper from God. And many of you have spent your whole life trying to interpret it without knowing there was something to interpret. You felt misaligned, out of step. You cry during certain months and don't know why. You feel anticipation without events. You sense endings in October, new beginnings in April, a strange alertness in August. That's not just emotion. It's your scroll remembering its seal. David was anointed but not enthroned. Joseph dreamed but wasn't understood. Esther was beautiful but hidden. All of them moved through time as if carrying an invisible weight. You feel it too. Because when heaven marks you, you become sensitive to sacred seasons. Even when no one else feels the shift. You weren't dramatic. You were discerning. You weren't too intense. You were too aware. You weren't lost. You were on lockdown. You didn't miss your timing. You've just been hearing your month echo before your moment arrived. And now, it's starting to make sense. There is a calendar in your soul that's been ticking toward this revelation. The forge of the calendar. Why your month came with fire. God doesn't forge chosen ones in the ease of summer. He often selects the harshest months for the holiest births. Moses was born under the decree of death. Jesus entered in the stillness of December, yet shattered history in silence. Job was tested not for sin, but for certification. And you came through under fire, maybe through family chaos, or unexplainable rejection, or a womb of warfare. Because the month you arrived came with an assignment, and the enemy knew it. That's why the attacks came early. That's why the isolation was violent. That's why the misunderstanding was constant. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. The flames that tried to consume you were the ones God used to confirm you. To be born with divine purpose is to be born with divine pressure. And some of you have confused the warfare with wrongness, when it's been your greatest proof of calling. You didn't walk through fire. You were forged in it. And now you carry heat that hell can't extinguish. When the calling is ignored, the spiritual cost. The most dangerous life is not the one attacked. It's the one asleep in its assignment. When chosen ones ignore the divine calendar over their life, the results aren't neutral. They're devastating. Cycles repeat. Gifts go dormant. Inner peace dissolves. Your spiritual immune system weakens. Because time, when ignored, becomes a weight. What should have been movement turns into delay. Saul was called, but Saul disconnected from divine timing and lost his crown in a single moment of misalignment. You may think delaying obedience is harmless, but in the kingdom, hesitation can cost inheritance. Some of you feel stuck not because you're unworthy, but because you've been living out of sync with your birth anointing. You tried to walk in someone else's rhythm, someone else's month, someone else's scroll. But what God appointed to July cannot survive in the soil of March. What was birthed in September order will suffocate in April chaos. Misalignment is not confusion, it's rebellion in disguise. And heaven will not bless a scroll you weren't assigned to open. It's time to return to your rhythm, your month, your mantle. The scroll within you. Unlocking your month's anointing. Each month carries a sacred fragrance, a divine code, and inside of you is the echo of that season's purpose. When God chose your entrance, He wrapped you in the oil of that month's authority. January doesn't just start the year, it awakens apostolic courage. February doesn't just whisper love, it carries priestly peace. March doesn't just blow wind, it breaks generational drift. April rises with resurrection boldness. May roots itself in unshakable faith. June lays foundations for generations. July seeks truth like fire consumes lies. August walks as a seer between realms. September builds kingdom order out of chaos. October carries transformative release. November discerns what cannot be spoken. December releases the light that cannot be hidden. You are not just like your month. You were sent by it. You carry its message. You breathe its assignment. What your birth date couldn't say with words, your soul was sent to declare with presence. You are a walking timestamp from eternity. And now that you've remembered, the anointing that's been waiting can be awakened. Your assignment was hidden in time. You weren't late, you were layered. The delays were disguises. The pauses were protections. The detours were prophecies in camouflage. Just as God waited to reveal Jesus until the fullness of time, He has been waiting to reveal you. Because divine calling isn't rushed, it's ripened. Everything about you, the questions you ask, the people you attract, the patterns you repeat, are clues from heaven about what you were born to release. You weren't supposed to fit in. You were supposed to break open. You weren't supposed to bloom early. You were built for the moment the world would need what only you carry. You were placed in time, but you were formed in eternity. You've never been behind. You've been aligned with something too large to see until now. And this message isn't just information, it's activation. You're not alone. You're part of a global timing movement. Across the world, others like you are waking up. Same ache, same birth month, same sense that they were born for something holy. This is not coincidence. This is remnant convergence. Just as Elijah thought he was alone until God reminded him of the 7,000 others, you are part of a scroll-opening movement far bigger than you imagined. When chosen ones begin to align with their divine calendar, a ripple begins across nations. Heaven is unfreezing time. Scrolls are being opened. Assignment is meeting alignment. You were never the only one. You were just the first one in your region to remember. You carry something that was never meant to sit quietly. You are part of a timed army, released 1 month at a time, for a reason this world can't yet comprehend. And your remembering is someone else's awakening. Echoes beyond time. What you carry is not just for you. You were born into a specific moment, but what you carry is timeless. The light in you wasn't meant to flicker out in silence. It was meant to echo across generations. Just as Abraham's faith still lives and Mary's yes still resonates, your alignment will birth waves long after you're gone. This is not about personality. This is about legacy. You've decoded your timing. Now you must release its message. What happens if you don't? A scroll remains sealed. A soul remains asleep. A city remains in darkness. You were timed to speak, and silence is no longer safe. Your month gave you permission. This message gave you clarity. And now, you have to echo. Let what heaven wrote in you become what earth remembers through you. You thought your birth month was just a date, but now you know it was a doorway, a passage through which heaven announced you to the earth. Not with trumpets, but with timing. Not with crowds, but with codes. The truth is, you weren't delayed. You were disguised, hidden beneath ordinary dates, wrapped in the silence of a calendar no one thought to interpret. But God knew, He always knew. And now, so do you. You were not born in a month. You were sent in a moment. And the moment has come full circle. The ache, the misalignment, the fire, the questioning, all of it was preparing you to read the scroll that's always been inside you. And today, heaven has lifted the seal. You are not who they said you were. You are not what time tried to convince you to be. You are a chosen one. Not simply selected, but summoned. Not merely alive, but assigned. You were marked. You were forged. And now, you are being sent. If this message awakens something sacred in you, comment 787 below. Let it be your echo back to heaven, a sign that you've received the scroll. Share what part stirred your spirit, what your month revealed, or what you're now ready to carry into the world. There is power in releasing what was sealed. And if this felt like home, like someone finally spoke the language of your soul, subscribe to Chosen One's Sanctuary. Because what began here is only the beginning. This is more than a channel. This is a global remnant awakening. You are not alone. You are the next echo.